it also really helps us to think about, so not only who is interested and where they're hanging out and who can help spread the word, but also about who can really be poised to support the activity of sourcing in this way or of outreach in this way. And so who can actually do the labor? It might be one thing to have one person go out and do all of the outreach for the role. But actually, if we're thinking about this in a value-centered way and we're really aiming for relational principles in this work, then it may very well be that there is a person in your organization or on the search committee who has a connection in that space or that network. And so an invitation to them might be more welcome, or it may make more sense for them to make a connection or a link. And so really thinking about who's in the sphere of my network, who exists in other people's networks, where do we need those connections to happen, and who can actually do the job of reaching out is another real way that the empathy mapping can support us. So we talked really briefly just about the network mapping, but this is a really great sketch opportunity if you haven't done it yet. So you just take a piece of paper or you can use a mural or whatever you want, and you just sort of start to plot all kinds of individuals that you're connected to or groups that you're connected to, and think about how strong those connections are. Think about the last time you spoke with them. Think about people and groups that you know from kind of all walks of your life. This could be previous jobs or current jobs. It could be family members or friends. It could be people you went to school or played sports with, or that you volunteered with, or that you know from different religious activities or affiliations. But you're really just looking at not just the one, we're looking for people to do this role, and so there's one channel. The truth is we can find candidates across all of the different channels and the ways we interact in the world. And so really kind of getting a sense of who's out there in our scope and spheres really helps to think about who's missing from that space, and where some strengths on your network may support others, and where the strengths or the connections in others' networks may also support the work that you're doing. So really trying to get a real broad picture, a bigger picture of the network that can help to connect the right candidates to this opportunity. When we're thinking about the who of the network, the next kind of logical step here is thinking about how to reach them. And so we tend to think about, I think the sourcing video outlines all of the different ways that we're thinking about what sourcing and outreach actually entails. There's these 7 buckets here on this slide that are really helpful to think about. So where are people convening? Are there events? Are there talks? Are there social media groups there that people are using to naturally connect? Are there opportunities to practice talking about the work, or the opportunity in social settings that you might be going into? Are there traditional postings that are really kind of uniquely at intersections that this position would be really, would really benefit from having a posting? These could be paid position postings, but they could be job boards or other things like that. Are there volunteer organizations where people with shared values may be doing some volunteer work or applying some skills? Are there particular volunteer organizations that are looking for very specific skills that maybe this role really meets? And if so, how do we kind of get this role in front of those kinds of organizations? Are there training or related education kind of spaces that can help to spread the word about the role? Sometimes there are alumni lists or newsletters or things like that. There may be Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups that are dedicated to that particular type of education, or that are organized by particular bodies that offer training. You might think about, what other roles, what other titles might this work have in other organizations and other sectors or other fields that do different work, but that are similar in the knowledge, skills, and abilities. And so, a position could have maybe 6 or 7 different titles in different kinds of organizations. And so if you're doing filters on LinkedIn searches or any of the different ways of kind of looking at titles, you may try a few different ones and see what comes up, see what gets past those filters.
I really love this
Anything to
approach,
add here,
Katrina.
Tim?
Yeah, I think there's, I really love the pairing with the empathy map and getting those things like this person might do this thing. And then think through, all right, so where do you find people who do that thing? Where do you find people who might volunteer connected to that thing? Mm-hmm. And we should note that this is really intensive work. You put that up there about like the labor part of it. This is likely not for every search that people are doing in organizations. This is maybe for really hard to find or hard to fill, I would say, roles, maybe more senior level, quote unquote, senior level in the organization, because there's a lot of work that goes into sourcing. But if you've ever said in an organization, where do you post for people? Because I can't find, this probably is something where you should take some time, because mm-hmm. where do you post is so far downstream from all these questions that you really benefit from spending time really getting clear. Who are potential people who have these things that we say we need, and then how do we build an entire process that connects with them? And so going through these different lenses, pairing with the empathy map, being grounded in the KSAs and anchors, I find like it takes the search to another level.